Hello, everybody. So I was supposed to be home for the 4th of July holiday. Enjoy some home time. That didn't happen. Um, my load got canceled and I ended up staying out. But, you know, uh, one thing you got to learn how to do when you become an owner operator is you're going to have to set or anything like that. Owner, you got to protect yourself. And you got to protect time. A lot of times people aren't used to you being, I guess, so busy. So focused, so determined to be successful, and you're just going to have to set limits. They may not like it, but that's too bad, because now you're running a small business. You got to put your business as a priority. The Simpsons has the character of Mr. Burns, who's the billionaire, right? And I saw a meme on Facebook that was like the three demons that you have to slay in order to be successful. It was friends, family, and faith. And this is kind of the idea that when you set boundaries, these are you got to set boundaries with friends. You got to set boundaries with family. And you got to understand the role of faith and the role of business. And you not necessarily mix the two, because you got to make a profit. This is not a non-profit organization. This is a for-profit organization. A lot of people like to be a nonprofit, but no, we're not a nonprofit. We're out here, because we would like to make some money, but you know, repelling borders, setting boundaries. Repelling borders is kind of like a Navy term. It's like you're defending the ship from outsiders, and that's kind of like what you got to do with your small business. You got to defend your business from outsiders, and it could be people that it's very common. You know, it used to be I could spend hours talk to people, and once I started my own small business, now the hours turn into minutes, because I have so many tasks I have to complete for the day in order to try to make a profit. And this is the idea that you got to set limits, you got to set boundaries, and there's even other owner operators that I set limits with, um, because I have experience. Sometimes new owner operators would like to have more of my time, because they'd like to, learn as much as they can. Well, it's understandable, but I'm also trying to, make a profit, so I don't get paid, to help excessively. It's okay to point someone in the right direction, but you can't run the business for them. It's sink or swim. Sink or swim. Because I can't distract from what I'm doing to help someone else be successful in what they're doing. So this is the idea that when you run a business, you're going to have to protect yourself, from everybody and everything. It's not that you're trying to be mean or cruel, but your business is your livelihood, and a lot of people will you know come at you from all types of different angles, and as I said, and you don't have to be overly concerned about other people's feelings. It's not that you're trying to be mean. It's just that you're trying to run a business. You got to make a profit. You have to make a profit. And if that means you got to tell someone no, so be it. If that hurts their feelings, so be it. It's like I can't help you. I got to take care of my own business. I have to mind my own business. I can't get involved in other people's drama. I can't sacrifice my business to help someone else's business. And this is what you got to think about. You always got to prioritize your business above other people's interests. They they will solve their problems on their own. They're just looking for someone to do the work for them. It's okay to point them in the right direction, but don't bend too far, out of shape trying to help someone else. I try to help as many people as I can, but I only make suggestions or recommendations. I don't tell them how to solve it. I'm just giving things to think about. It's like, well, did you call this person? Did you try to do this or do that? I might send them a link for a video or something, but I don't solve the problem for them. They got to solve the problem themselves. Because I don't want other people to get dependent. It's like you need to find your own answers. This is part of your development as an owner operator. You got to develop your own knowledge base, your own skills, your own problem solving skills, things like this. So, if you're a small business owner, you got to set these boundaries. It's like, look, this is how far I'm going to go. I'm not going to go any further. Because you'll find that you're going to be wasting a lot of your time that you don't have. It's like you got to get a handle on your own business before you can help someone else. It's the old adage that in order to help someone who's drowning, you gotta know that you're a good swimmer. If you can't swim, you can help someone else who also can't swim. So it doesn't do you any good jump in the water if you don't know how to swim. So if they're struggling to stay afloat, you really have to think twice about how deep you want to get in, and try to help someone out. It's okay to throw them some pointers and tips, but I would set boundaries, because if you solve a problem for them one time, they'll just keep coming back to you over and over and over again. And it's something that you gotta encourage people to learn how to be an owner operator, how to learn to do this stuff on their own, and experience so that you can focus on those things that are important. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.